All right, so page 2 of lesson 3 has some practice on it. You're simply converting from radians to degrees, degrees to radians. That's it. All right. So, quick reminder, if you are converting from radians to degrees, you will want to multiply times 180 over pi. Okay, and that's for every problem where you're simplifying or converting from radians to degrees. Okay, so problem number 3 here, I have pi over 8. I'm going to multiply this times 180 over pi. So my 2 pi terms cancel out. That has to happen when you are converting radians. All right. Instead of having pi here, I'm going to put a 1 as a placeholder. So that way I can put this in my calculator as 1 over 8, so 1 divided by 8, times 180. And this is going to equal 22.5 degrees. Okay, so make sure when you're changing to degrees that you associate the degree symbol with it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and slide on over to for number 4 here, 3 pi times 180 over pi. So my 2 pi terms cancel out. The nice part is there's no more fractions on this one anymore. So I'm just going to take 3 times 180. I have a calculator sitting next to me to do this. Okay, so 540 degrees. All right, so problem number 4 is done. Number 5, 5 pi over 3. Again, multiply times 180 over pi. My 2 pi terms cancel out. In my calculator, I am going to put 5 divided by 3 times 180. That gives me 300 degrees. Okay. Problem number 6, same process, 180 over pi. I'm going to cancel out those 2 pi terms. In my calculator, 12 divided by 5 times 180. That is the always popular 432 degrees. All right. And so that takes care of that first set of practice problems where you need to convert from radians to degrees. All right, problem number 7 through 10, we're going to give you degree measures and ask you to convert to radians. So instead of using 180 over pi, I'm going to flip that fraction over. So we're going to multiply times pi over 180. All right, so I'm going to take my 210, let me zoom in a little bit here. I'm going to take 210 degrees. I'm going to multiply that times pi over 180. All right. Now, here's where it's going to get a little bit weird. How am I going to put this in a calculator? Well, if I multiply straight across, I would have 210 pi over 180, which really means I want to take 210 divided by 180 and just simplify whatever I get. I will most likely get a decimal answer, so use calculate 84, convert it to a fraction, but make sure that you know how to get it to a fraction. So 7 pi over 6 radians. Okay, so 120, same multiplier, pi over 180. So in my calculator, I'm going to do 120 divided by 180. All right. And whatever I get, convert it to a fraction. So 2 pi over 3 radians. Now, because these are in radians, obviously we're not going to put a degree symbol, so don't do it. All right. 35 degrees times pi, wow, that's a horrible pi, pi over 180. So I'm going to take 35 divided by 180 and turn it into a fraction. So 7 pi over 36. Problem number 10. Yes, by the way, you can have a 10,000 degree angle. It is totally possible. All right. Times pi over 180. So 10,000 divided by 180, and I'm going to convert it to a fraction. So this is going to be 50 pi over 9. All right, and those are all my radians. And the last set, it's whatever conversion you have is the one you need to do. Okay, so if I have 75 degrees here, so 75 degrees, I'm going to multiply it times pi over 180. How do I know? I said it wrong, but I knew what I was trying to get to. Degrees here and degrees here. So one in the numerator, one in the denominator. Make sure those cancel out. So this is going to be 75 divided by 180. Turn that into a fraction. We're going to have 5 pi over 12, and that is in radians. Okay. Convert 7 pi over 2, so that's in radians, which means I'm going to do 180 when I multiply over pi. All right, so pi and pi cancel. In my calculator, I would do 7 over 2 times 180, and whatever I get is what I get, so that's 630 degrees. Okay. Problem number 13, 9 pi over 2 radians, so 9 pi over 2 times. Because I know I have pi here in my fraction that I'm multiplying by, I want to make sure I have pi in the denominator, which means I'm going to put 180 degrees in the numerator. So pi and pi cancel. 9 over 2 times 180, 810 degrees. Okay. And certainly last but not least here, problem number 14, convert 300 degrees, so 300 degrees times. So I want to do 180 degrees in the denominator, so degrees and degrees would cancel, which means obviously in the numerator I need pi. So 300 divided by 180 in fraction form is 5 pi over 3 radians. All right, so I'm going to have up some extra practice for lesson sheets 3. All right, so there's a couple of different sheets, some of which pretty straightforward like this. There'll be one on filling in some radian measures for something called the unit circle. Same idea that you've just seen us do right here. You're going to have a whole bunch of degree measures. Just fill in the radian measures. All right, let me know if you have any questions.